Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Before we get started, if you enjoy this kind of deep dive, please take a quick second to like this explainer and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep bringing you these science breakdowns. Also, a quick reminder that this explainer is strictly for informational purposes based on published medical articles, so never start or stop any medication without talking to your doctor. Now, if you want to truly master the science behind these treatments, you absolutely have to check out my complete guide to peptides. It's an incredible resource, and it's available right now for just $19.90 via the link in the description. Don't miss out on it. Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're looking at some fascinating scientific reviews exploring a massive question that millions of people are asking right now. What actually happens when you stop taking GLP-1 weight loss drugs?
It's a question that's literally everywhere right now, right? I mean, we're living through this era of just unprecedented media hype surrounding these medications. Millions of people are using them, celebrities are rumored to be on them, and those crazy physical transformations are completely dominating our social media feeds. But amidst all that noise, there's a really critical biological question that often gets glossed over. What exactly goes on inside your body when the medication stops? Does the weight come rushing back? Do your health markers crash? Today, we're cutting through all the rumors, we're bypassing the celebrity gossip, and we're using recent systematic reviews to give you the pure scientific facts about discontinuing these medications. We're going to look strictly at the physiology of what happens after that very final dose.
But, before we talk about stopping, we have to fully acknowledge the incredible efficacy boom we're seeing in modern medicine right now. Medications like Semaglutide and dual-action drugs like Tirzepatide have completely transformed how we treat obesity. And let's be real, these aren't just minor incremental improvements. They represent a fundamental seismic shift in medical care. They work by mimicking natural hormones to modulate your energy metabolism, drastically reduce your appetite, and significantly slow down your gastric emptying. And to put that into perspective, slowing gastric emptying means food literally stays in your stomach longer. For a patient, this translates to feeling profoundly full after eating just a tiny fraction of what they might have eaten before. That incessant food noise, that constant thinking about your next meal, is effectively quieted. And this brilliantly illustrates the results of quieting that food noise. 21.1. That number represents the upper end of the percentage of total body weight lost by patients during active treatment in clinical trials. Across various studies, patients are seeing a massive 7 to 21.1% reduction in their total body weight. To understand how monumental that is, consider that losing just 5% of your body weight is often enough to significantly improve your metabolic health. Pushing past 20%, that is life-changing weight loss for people with moderate to severe obesity who just haven't found success with traditional diet and exercise alone. It's fundamentally altering the trajectory of their long-term health. So, incretin-based therapies have truly evolved modern medical care. They've provided this incredibly powerful pharmacological tool where previously we just had very few effective options. But here's the major pivot we have to discuss today. Treatment isn't always forever. Life happens, whether it's due to the incredibly high financial cost of maintaining the prescription, dealing with gastrointestinal side effects like persistent nausea, or maybe just a personal choice to step away after reaching a goal weight. Many patients eventually interrupt or completely stop their therapy. Which brings us to the very core of our explainer today. What is the biological reality of that decision?
Section 1. The reality of weight regain. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast it shows. When we look at the data from rigorous clinical trials like the STEP 1 extension and SURMOUNT-4 studies, you have that massive initial weight loss we just discussed, which peaks during active, ongoing treatment. But on the flip side, systematic reviews show that patients recover anywhere from 30% to a staggering 70% of the weight they lost after they stop taking the drugs. Let that sink in for a second. Nearly 3/4 of that hard-earned weight loss can return. The clinical reality is that the weight simply doesn't stay off on its own once that pharmacological support is removed. The body actually begins a rapid process of reversing the physical changes.
Let's break those statistics down a bit further to really wrap our heads around the physiological scope. Looking at total overall body weight, patients regain between 2.6 and 14% of their total body mass after discontinuation. And researchers noted something absolutely vital here. This regain is actually more pronounced with the highly effective molecules. So why does this happen? Well, it comes down to something called the body set point theory and the starvation response. When you lose a massive amount of weight on drugs like Tirzepatide and Semaglutide, your body actually perceives this rapid fat loss as a threat to your survival. It ramps up your hunger hormones and slows down your metabolism to protect you. So the more weight you lose, the more pronounced the biological drive to regain it seems to be. Your body fights fiercely to return to its previous, heavier baseline.
Section 2. Cardiometabolic marker reversals. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the internal shifts are just as dramatic as the external ones. It isn't just the number on the scale that changes when you stop taking the medication. The incredible metabolic benefits you achieve during active treatment, they don't last on their own either. Improvements in your HbA1c, which is essentially a measure of your average blood sugar levels over the past 3 months, show a partial deterioration. Your baseline glycemia, or overall blood glucose, creeps back up too. The same goes for blood pressure. Even your waist circumference expands again, which is a really critical marker because it indicates the return of visceral fat. That's the dangerous fat that surrounds your vital organs. All of these key internal health markers shift back, directly paralleling the physical weight regain. Section 3. A chronic disease paradigm. So the crucial point is, all this clinical data forces a monumental shift in how the medical community views obesity. For decades, society has looked at weight loss through a very specific and, quite frankly, deeply unfair lens of personal failing. But the hard science forces us to move away from that outdated expectation that obesity is just a short-term problem you can fix with sheer willpower, a temporary diet, or a quick stint on medication. Instead, the evidence demands that we accept obesity must be viewed and treated as a chronic, relapsing condition. It involves deep biological mechanisms, hormonal imbalances, and genetic predispositions that require continuous long-term management, just exactly like any other chronic illness. There's actually a quote directly from the systematic review that I want to read because it's incredibly powerful for destigmatizing this entire process. Regaining weight is, and I quote, not a therapeutic failure, but an expected physiological response upon withdrawal. Let's break that down. Your body has sophisticated biological compensatory mechanisms that actively fight to restore adipose tissue once the pharmacological brake is removed. When the GLP-1 hormone stimulation stops, your appetite just returns to its previous baseline, and your satiety signals weaken. It's not a lack of willpower, guys. It is basic, complex human physiology working exactly as it evolved to work over thousands of years. To really help grasp this paradigm shift, think of it this way. The hypertension analogy. If you have high blood pressure and your doctor prescribes medication, your blood pressure goes down, right? Your cardiovascular system stabilizes. But what happens if you just decide to stop taking the pill? The high blood pressure comes right back. The brain regulates fat storage and metabolism very much like the cardiovascular system regulates pressure. You wouldn't call the blood pressure medication a failure, nor would you blame yourself for a lack of willpower when your numbers go back up. GLP-1s work exactly the same way for obesity. The physiological benefits stop when the medication stops because the underlying chronic condition is still there. Section 4. Crucial medical disclaimers. Now, because we're dealing with powerful biological modulators and medications that significantly alter how your body functions, please remember that everything we've discussed today is strictly for educational and informative purposes. This is all based entirely on published scientific articles. You should never, under any circumstances, start, stop, or alter your medications without direct medical supervision. Obesity requires careful long-term management with a qualified healthcare provider who actually understands your specific health profile. And honestly, this is exactly why educating yourself on the underlying science is absolutely crucial. If you're serious about understanding how these biological mechanisms actually work, I highly recommend downloading my complete guide to peptides. It is the ultimate resource for this topic, detailing everything you need to know, and it's a steal at just $19.99. You can grab it via the link right down in the description. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on it. Which leaves us with a really critical, provocative question to consider as we wrap up. Given the overwhelming clinical data and the undeniable reality of our biology, are we finally ready, as a society, to abandon the quick fix mindset and truly embrace the long-term science of chronic weight management? The path forward requires a completely new understanding of how our bodies work, leaving the stigma behind and embracing scientific reality. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.